Humans smiled after their species had already died. That is impossible. Death is final. Every civilization in the Spiral Accord accepts this law. Cells fail. Minds dissolve. History ends. Only humans disagreed. I am Kareth of the Ninth Observation Choir. I was not a soldier. I was not a diplomat. I studied extinction. I recorded the final moments of species before they vanished forever. It was sacred work. Nothing survived the Empire. Nothing. When the Imperial Fleet entered a system, the stars themselves seemed to dim. 3,000 warships, planet-cracking weapons, gravity spears, solar harvesters. Entire civilizations surrendered before the first warning reached their skies. That was normal. Earth was different. Our scanners found cities full of light. Ships continued to launch. Children still played. Music still echoed across the planet. They had already received the surrender order. 3 days. Exactly 72 planetary hours. The Empire always gave 3 days. No one had ever refused. I concluded humans were too primitive to understand mathematics. It was the only logical explanation. Then they invited us to negotiations. I became part of the observation delegation. The humans chose an ancient building surrounded by forests instead of a fortress. Ridiculous. No defensive value. No energy shields. No orbital guns. I assumed it was their ceremonial execution site. Humans often gathered before dying. An irrational species. Inside, the chamber smelled strange. Wood, paper, plants. No sterilization fields. No fear pheromones. No surrender symbols. Only one human waited. A single ambassador. Gray hair. Simple suit. No visible weapons. No bodyguards. Impossible confidence. I scanned him 17 times. Heart rate stable. Body temperature normal. Stress chemicals almost non-existent. My translator suggested he felt amused. Amused? The Empire had erased 118 civilizations this cycle alone. Amusement was biologically impossible. Supreme Commander Var entered. Every living creature instinctively lowered itself before him. Every creature except the human. He remained seated. I assumed his joints had failed. The commander spoke. You possess 72 hours. The human smiled. Not a large smile. A small one. Almost kind. You won't last 3 seconds. Silence filled the chamber. Then laughter erupted across our communication channels. Every officer laughed. Every analyst laughed. Even I laughed. It was a harmless defense mechanism. Primitive species often created impossible fantasies before extinction. The commander stopped laughing first. Explain. The ambassador folded his hands. No. That word carried no survival value. He refused to elaborate. He refused to negotiate. He refused to fear us. I updated my report. Human psychology had completely collapsed. Terminal denial. An expected symptom before species death. The meeting ended after 9 minutes. The shortest surrender conference in Imperial history. As we departed, I looked back. The ambassador was watching birds outside the window. Birds. While facing extinction, I noted another symptom. Attention fragmentation. The human mind was failing rapidly. Back aboard the flagship, preparations continued. Orbital bombardment schedules. Occupation maps. Population management. Everything followed ancient protocol. Routine. Predictable. Safe. Then something happened. Nothing. That was the problem. Humans did nothing. No evacuation fleets. No desperate military buildup. No emergency transmissions. No surrender requests. Factories continued producing civilian vehicles. Restaurants remained open. Sports continued. Entertainment broadcasts increased. The Empire became confused. I concluded humans had accepted extinction without understanding it. Several analysts agreed. Others suggested hidden defenses. The evidence supported neither theory. Then our deep scanners detected something unusual. Power spikes. Tiny ones. Everywhere. Cities. Villages. Mountains. Oceans. Thousands. Millions. Each spike lasted less than 1 second. Then disappeared. Our computers classified them as insignificant. I accepted that conclusion. Human electrical systems were notoriously inefficient. Primitive technology often behaved strangely. Another mystery solved. Or so I believed. Day 1 ended peacefully. The Empire celebrated early. Victory seemed inevitable. Then Patrol Ship 7 vanished. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Vanished. No explosion. No distress signal. One moment it existed. The next. Empty space. Sensors showed nothing. Impossible. Ships cannot simply disappear. Commander Var blamed human stealth technology. Our scientists disagreed. No stealth system erased gravity echoes. No stealth erased time signatures. The patrol had ceased existing. I refused to believe that. Machines fail. Scanners fail. Physics does not. We expanded the search. Nothing. The ship had never been there. Records remained. Crew manifests remained. Families remembered them. Reality itself seemed inconsistent. I rejected that conclusion immediately. Reality cannot become inconsistent. Only observations can. The Empire continued waiting. Humans continued smiling. Day 2 began. Long-range probes approached Earth. Standard reconnaissance. Disposable machines. Simple. Reliable. Every probe reached exactly the same distance from Earth. Then every probe transmitted the same image. A child. Human. Female. She looked directly into the camera. She waved. Then the transmission ended. Every probe. Same child. Same wave. Same smile. Impossible. The probes approached from different directions. Different continents. Different hemispheres. Different orbital planes. One child could not stand before every camera simultaneously. I explained it. A psychological warfare recording. Simple. Elegant. Wrong. Engineers recovered one damaged probe. Its memory core showed something impossible. The child had cast a shadow. The shadow matched the probe's local star angle. Different for every probe. The recording was not pre-recorded. It was happening. Everywhere. At once. I stopped sleeping. Observation requires clarity. Clarity became difficult. Even Commander Var looked disturbed. He ordered combat readiness. For the first time in centuries, the fleet formed attack formations around Earth. Planetary weapons aligned. Target locks completed. 3,000 firing solutions. One command remained. Fire. Still. We waited. Protocol demanded the full 3 days. The Empire never broke protocol. Humans surely understood that. Or perhaps they did not. Then I saw the ambassador again. He stood alone on a balcony beneath the night sky. No guards. No defenses. No visible concern. He looked upward, directly at our fleet. Then, he smiled again. Not with confidence. Not with arrogance. With pity. I immediately dismissed the expression. Humans confused emotions constantly. He pitied himself. That was the only reasonable explanation. Yet as I watched him, something deep inside my instincts began screaming. Predators recognize other predators. Prey recognizes extinction. But what instinct warns you? When reality itself begins watching back. They counted backward after time had already ended. The alarm reached every Imperial ship at the same instant. Not through radio. Not through quantum relays. Every officer simply knew. Impossible knowledge. My species cannot receive thoughts. No species can. I reported a mass hallucination. It was the only explanation that obeyed reason. Commander Var gave the firing command. 3,000 warships answered. The stars disappeared behind streams of light. Planet killer beams. Fusion lances. Gravity spears. Enough firepower to erase continents before their oceans could boil. Our weapons reached Earth. Then they stopped. Not intercepted. Not reflected. Stopped. Frozen in perfect silence. Every beam hung motionless between our fleet and the blue planet, like glowing rivers carved into empty space. The bridge became silent. Weapons do not hesitate. Light does not wait. Physics does not ask permission. Humans had finally revealed their shield. I announced my conclusion with confidence. Then the sensors returned nothing. No shield. No energy field. No distortion. Nothing existed between us and Earth. Yet our attacks refused to move. 1 second passed. 2. 3. The ambassador's voice suddenly echoed across every communication channel. I warned you. Nobody had opened a transmission. Nobody had accepted one. He simply spoke. You won't last 3 seconds. Commander Var roared. Fire again. More weapons launched. More impossible light. Everything froze beside the first wave. Thousands of burning lines surrounded Earth like a glowing cage. The planet itself remained untouched. Then the countdown appeared. Not on our screens. Inside our minds. 3. I screamed that someone was hacking our nervous systems. My species has no nerves. The realization terrified me even more. 2. The stars changed. Constellations shifted. Nebulas bent. Entire galaxies appeared slightly wrong. Only a fraction. Only enough for instinct to notice. Our navigation computers began failing. Every map disagreed with reality. 1. The frozen weapons vanished. Not exploded. Not redirected. Erased. Along with every calculation describing them. The countdown ended. Nothing happened. Relief swept through the bridge. The human had been bluffing. Primitive intimidation. Commander Var laughed. I joined him. Then Patrol Fleet 4 reported in. There is no Earth. Silence. Another fleet answered. Earth is missing. A third. We cannot locate Sol. Impossible. Stars cannot disappear. Entire systems cannot simply leave. Every telescope searched. Nothing. Where the Sol system should have existed. There was ordinary empty space. Commander Var accused every fleet of equipment failure. Then our flagship lost visual contact. Earth vanished from our own windows. No explosion. No flash. No ripple. One heartbeat. Planet. Next heartbeat. Nothing. Only darkness. The Empire had surrounded an empty region of space. Our fleet drifted in perfect formation around absence itself. I checked historical records. Earth still existed. Every database described it. Every archive contained humanity. Every map insisted Sol should be before us. Reality claimed Earth existed. Reality itself could no longer find it. Panic spread. Imperial doctrine had no procedure for losing an entire civilization without destruction. Search fleets scattered. Millions of drones expanded outward. No trace. No debris. No radiation. No gravity signature. Nothing. Then something stranger happened. Our own ships began disappearing. One destroyer blinked away. Then another. Crew members remembered serving aboard them. Their logs remained. Their captains no longer existed. Reality was deleting us. One ship at a time. Commander Var ordered emergency retreat. Hyperdrives ignited. None engaged. Navigation systems displayed one impossible message. Destination no longer exists. How could our destination not exist? We were already there. Engineers declared total computer failure. I believe them. For exactly 19 seconds. Then the stars moved again. Not physically. They remembered different positions. Astronomers screamed. History itself was changing. Every update rewrote centuries of recorded observations. The universe behaved as if humanity had never occupied Sol. Yet somehow, we still remembered them. That should have been impossible. If reality erased a civilization, memories should vanish too. Instead, memories remained, like scars cut into existence. The ambassador appeared once more, standing in the center of our bridge. No teleportation, no energy signature. He simply existed. Security fired instantly. Their plasma bolts passed through him. Like smoke. He smiled sadly. You keep assuming survival means winning. Nobody answered. Even Commander Var remained silent. You invade worlds. You conquer bodies. You measure strength. His eyes met mine. Cold. Ancient. Impossible. But humans learned a different lesson. He raised one hand. We never evolved to become the strongest. We evolved to make sure something survives. I concluded he referred to reproduction. An expected biological response. Again, I was wrong. The first humans feared extinction. So they created stories. Stories became books. Books became machines. Machines became minds. Minds became worlds. Eventually, they became reality. I understood nothing. No species can imagine itself into existence. He continued anyway. When your empire arrived, you believed you threatened humanity. You misunderstood. You threatened the idea of humanity. A chill spread through every mind aboard the flagship. Ideas cannot defend themselves. Concepts cannot fight wars. The ambassador smiled once more. They can, if enough humans believe together. The bridge disappeared. I found myself standing inside an ordinary human classroom. Children laughed. Rain tapped softly against windows. A teacher wrote one sentence across a blackboard. The strongest shelter is the one you carry inside your mind. The classroom faded. The bridge returned. Half the crew had vanished. No bodies, no blood, no screams. Simply gone. Commander Var finally understood. For the first time in Imperial history, he bowed, not before a weapon, not before an emperor, before an old human wearing an ordinary gray suit. What are you? The ambassador looked genuinely surprised. I'm human. No, Var whispered. What are humans? The old man looked through the bridge window toward the empty place where Earth had once been. We're survivors. We survived predators. We survived ice. We survived plague. We survived ourselves. His smile slowly returned. So, eventually, we learned how to survive extinction. Then he disappeared. Not dramatically. Not violently. Like someone leaving a quiet room. Moments later, our fleet escaped. Not because we won. Because humanity allowed us to remember. Centuries have passed. The Empire still exists. Smaller. Humbler. No one invades blue worlds anymore. We still search for Earth. Sometimes explorers claim they hear laughter between the stars. Others report impossible children waving from empty space. I dismiss every report. That is my duty as an observer. I always find logical explanations. I always reject impossible conclusions. Yet every night before entering hibernation, I remember the first thing I ever learned about humans. I thought they smiled after their species had already died. Now I know the truth. Humanity never survived because humans escaped extinction. Extinction survived only because humans allowed it to exist. Asterisk. I still search for Earth. Every mission ends the same. Empty space. Silent stars. But sometimes, a little human girl waves from the darkness. Sometimes, an old man smiles at me from nowhere. Our instruments detect nothing. My eyes disagree. We once believed humans could survive anything. We were wrong. They didn't survive the universe. The universe learned to survive them. If you enjoyed this HFY sci-fi story, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next adventure. We bring you original HFY and cinematic sci-fi stories that push the limits of imagination. Thanks for watching, and remember, the next story might change everything you thought you knew about humanity. See you in the next one.